Yeah, good evening to everybody here and also for those online. Right, so welcome to our hybrid session today for mathematics. What we are doing now is that actually there are some people online and there are some amongst us at Sengkang Center also. So what we're going to do today is teacher Kwee Lim and myself, right? So I'm teacher Wei Lun and this is teacher Kwee Lim. So we actually teach secondary and also primary mathematics here at MindStretcher. Right, so tonight we are going to go through some of the tips and techniques that will be useful for you all as you all go through, be it Sec 1, Sec 2, Sec 3, or Sec 4 mathematics. Okay. To keep it interactive, anytime you all have questions, feel free to just raise your hand and ask. And even the people online also, you all can also type in the chat, and then we will be happy to address that. And also, you all will see here in front of you, right? There's some questions, right, that we will also go through later. Okay. But maybe just as a show of hands, because I think some of you we didn't see just now, right? So I think I heard from the few of them. I know that they are Sec 1, and then this girl here is Sec 4. What about the three of you? So the three of you, you are secondary what this year? Oh, Sec 4 also. I see. So are you our MindStretcher students? Oh no, I see, I see. So you are not MindStretcher students, but now Sec 4, then now finish prelims, right? Okay. So how did your prelims go? Was it okay? Okay lah. Okay, that's good. What are you aiming towards for math for O levels? B3. I think it's a good target to work towards. Then two of you? A2 and minimum B3 lah. Are you all taking only math or you also take A math? Oh, take A math also lah. I see. Okay, okay. So seems like your math quite solid lah for all of you. Right. Okay. So okay, it's good. Yeah, thanks for checking this out. So what we'll do now is that we will start the session. Okay. So I'm going to hand over to teacher Kwee Lim. Right. Teacher Kwee Lim will bring us through the session. Okay. So anytime any questions, just feel free to raise your hand also. Or you can just ask directly. Yeah. You can ask directly. It's okay also.
Okay, let me put this on properly first. Okay, yeah. All right. So good evening to all of you. Yeah, thank you, Teacher Wayland. So what we are actually going to be covering today is actually the topic is on mastering smart examination techniques. Okay, so the issue is that you will notice that whenever you are doing your exams or your questions worksheets, whenever there's questions that you do, there's a certain way that you actually need to solve your questions. If not, you will end up losing marks because of some reasons or another, right? So that's what we will be actually covering for today. Okay, sorry, let me just quickly just go into the slideshow. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this first slide, okay, so is that these are some of the objectives for today. Is that it's actually to identify and avoid common errors that you may actually commit. You may actually be committing on those and then losing marks because of that, right? And then also we will actually also go into some good practices that you ought to be doing so that you won't lose those marks due to that reason. And it's actually mainly to how do you actually present your workings clearly in that sense, right? And then also to build confidence in tackling challenging problems in real world contexts. This is usually the kind of question that many people actually have problems handling it because of the massive amount of information that may be given to you. And then, however, there's only a certain limited things that you actually need to use, but you are not too sure which ones to filter out and so on. So we'll actually go a bit into this as well. And also how do we actually solve them solve it in solvable steps. Okay, breaking them into solvable steps in that sense. Right. Okay. Next. All right. So these are some of the errors that usually secondary school students will commit. First is actually called the concept error, presentation error, accuracy error, and also next one is missing or wrong units. Who's the culprit of this? I mean, this one is actually quite common, very, very common. Even for primary school students, the P5, P6 that I taught before, they are also committing this. And then this actually cascades over to secondary level as well, right? And then also another last one is transfer error. Okay, maybe I'll just briefly talk about this first because this one, it's a bit hard to show some examples of this very clearly because is that when we talk about transfer error, what do we mean? Let's say you are given a certain question with a certain value. Let's say the value is 3,554. Yet, when you transfer it to your working, you write 3,545 instead. So end up your calculations will go wrong subsequently, really, right? Because of the wrong values that you use, right? So that is actually what we mean by transfer error. Okay, and okay, so let's go to the first one. Okay, hold on first, Teacher Wayland. Okay, this you will see this in your worksheet as well. So can you tell me what is it that is wrong with this? The student actually did this. So with this algebraic expression of this fraction here, right? So for those of you who are in Sec 4, you should be very familiar with this. Sec 1, maybe you may just started learning this for the time being. So you may want to actually see whether you are able to solve this or not. Is this correct? Okay, straight away you say no. Why is that so? So negative. Uh-huh. Okay, but what about this starting part? Is this correct? When I have this 9p squared plus 6pq over 9p squared minus 4q squared, then after that, I just straight away, I kind of cancel out the 9p squared and this 9p squared over here. The numerator, I cancel out this 9p squared. Denominator, I cancel out this 9p squared as well. Is this correct? No, right? Because why? Yeah, next. So you can see that this one, why is it wrong? It's because there's this concept error where probably the student did not learn well for his algebra, his or her algebra, is that because when we do this, we cannot just simply just do a division in such a way, right? Because the numerator, when it's an addition like this, you cannot just simply just cancel one part of it and cancel another part of the denominator. So what we need to do, actually, we need to first factorize it. And once we factorize it, we can see that there is this common factor of this 3p plus 2q. That's when we can actually cross out this. It's kind of like 3p plus 2q divided by 3p plus 2q. And subsequently, getting to the final answer to be 3p over 3p minus 2q, right? So this is actually one of the kinds of concept error, but it's not exhaustive. So is that there are some other examples of concept errors as well, but due to the time that we have today, we'll just go through a few selected ones because these are the more common ones that we are seeing that is committed, right? Okay. Okay, yeah, good. At least I see some of you are actually writing this down. Okay, then this is what we call is concept error. As you can see in at the right hand top corner, you can see that this is a concept error. Okay, then what about the next one? You can flip over the page first. Before I go into the next slide, okay, can you see these three on this page here? Okay, these three questions that you see here, the student actually wrote this. First one is that the student actually wrote x minus 5 equals to 0, then followed by minus, not minus, equal sign on the left hand side. Then after that, followed by an x equals to 5 in this case. So is that correct or not? Obviously not, right? Because what is that? What is that error that if we were to look at these three examples here, double equal sign, no equal sign, and no term written before equal sign. So which one should this fall under? Okay, it may seem very mediocre and seems like very funny or whatever, but these are some things that I've been seeing students actually committing this, right? So you may not be committing it, but there are people who are doing this. So that's why we are actually going through this to let you be aware of this. And sometimes it's because of what? It's actually because when you're rushing through your steps, end up you missed it out. It could be that case as well, right? So for this first one, it is actually the double equal sign that we are talking about, right? And for this, how do we actually go about writing this for this example here? Let me just try and show you. Oh, it's over here. Sorry, teacher Win. Cannot select. Yeah. Okay, so for this first one is that it is actually x. Let me change the color a bit. It's actually x minus 5 equals to 0. So what you need to do is just next line is just x equals to 0. There shouldn't be an extra equal sign on the left hand side, right? That should be all that you, sorry, my bad. I just realized I also write wrongly. Okay, you see? So is that this should be what? It is supposed to be x equals to 5. Okay, yeah. Right, then the next one is this no equal sign shown, right? So for example here, this student actually wrote this, 2x minus 8 plus x plus 1. Then after that, the next line, simply just write 3x minus 7. This is definitely not correct way of presenting your answers, right? You should be actually, if you, let's say you want to actually write it to the next line this way, it still needs an equal sign like this, right? Or another method, another way to write this is that you can also write it next to it, which is by writing equals to 3x minus 7, right? Okay, so this is the second example, which is no equal sign, right? And then for the third one is this presentation error that students may also commit, is that there is no term written. So this example that I have here is 2x, a very simple example. You may be surprised, even for simple examples like this, there may be students that actually still will commit this error. You just simply just write equals to 4 subsequently, right? Which is obviously not correct, right? It is that we have to actually first write x is equals to 4. Because if we don't write this x over here, it simply is also trying to tell me that 2x minus 8 is equals to 0. 2x minus 8 is also equals to 4. Okay? Of course, this is actually very simple, but if you think of it in terms of other kinds of questions, like when you use the functions of cosine or sine, right? And then, for example, sine x is equals to, let's say I have half. Then, straight away, what is sine x? Can someone tell me? If you want to find x, what is the angle? For those taking A maths, special angle, what is it? For me also can remember. Just joking. Yeah, what is it? What is it? Yeah. What do you want to find? X is equals what? What is the angle? In degrees. Just simple, just degrees. Yeah. No need in radians. Radians will be harder. Right. Huh? Is it 30? Quick, quick, quick. Use your calculator. So you press shift inverse sine of half, 30 degrees. Okay, so we confirm. I take your answer. Okay, so the issue is that, you see, students tend to actually write it this way, then stop here like this. Is this correct or not? Obviously, it's wrong, right? Because it is actually x that is equals to 30 degrees, right? You sure it's correct? Because I don't recall that it is correct. Okay, wait, let me see. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1. Yeah, correct. Okay, yeah. So it's actually this, it should be shown in this way. Okay, instead of writing without the x and then you just equals to 30 degrees. Okay, right. So let's go to the next slide. This over here, you have some other examples of this where you It's not in the worksheet, all right? So these are some other presentation errors that students tend to make as well. Like for example, working steps combining together. So this I see, yeah. So is that if in the case of, let's say I have do I have it over here? Sorry, just give me a minute. Let me try and check it on this. Oh, sorry, not here. Okay. All right. So there are these other examples. Sorry about that. Okay. Is working steps being combined together? Let's say I have this case of it's actually on the next page. I'm so sorry. I actually forgot. It's actually this question here. If you are given this, find the compound interest of $1 million for 2 years in 1.5 at 1.5% per annum and compounded annually. So what the student showed was what? The student actually showed this. Okay, so in case for those who may not be able to see it online, is that this is 1 million, and then what the student did was he just multiplied by 1 plus 1.5, oops, over 100, and then to the power of 2. And then the next step, what the student did was he got this answer for the compound interest. It was actually 10 principal multiplied by the compound interest formula. So this is what he got. It was 1,030,225. Okay, and then he straight away he actually did a minus 1 million. And final answer, he actually got this 30,000. Is this correct? What is wrong? What is wrong with this one? What do you think? Minus 1 million. Okay.
First step is to find the total amount with the interest.
Yeah. Okay. So there's actually two errors here, in fact. All right. First error is actually the where you actually highlighted. He didn't actually mention what is this, right? Which is actually the missing, either you say is a missing term or it could be a case of missing function. But of course, this case is actually more of a missing statement, right? This case is that he could have actually write maybe the total amount of amount that he's earning also. No, wait, let me see. Okay, for this case, it should be just the total amount after 2 years, right? But instead, but what he did was that the second line, he actually started to minus the 1 million. And when he actually subtract the 1 million, what happens when he does that? It is actually to find, he was actually wanting to find the interest in just the interest only. But all these are being combined together. So that is actually not correct already, right? So what we should be doing is, first of all, we should be actually showing it in this way. Let me clear this first. Okay, so first step is that he should be showing the total amount first. Okay, I'm writing short form because to save some space here. So this will be, first of all, your 1 million multiplied by your 1 plus 1.5 over 100 square, right? And this will actually give you that 1,030,225 dollars, right? So that's the first step. Then followed by the next step should be the compound interest. Okay, the pen's a bit funny. Okay, so the compound interest will then be 1,030,225 minus, oops, sorry, this one is booked. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Okay, then after that minus your $1 million. Okay, then from here, you will actually get 30,000. It should be a two-step approach in that sense, where your first step is only to find the total amount and then followed by compound interest. Else, you can also combine this as one step by itself, which is what? Which is actually straight away from the very beginning, he should be writing compound interest, where he would have written this formula of the 1 million, the principal times the compound interest formula, then minus straight away from the very first step. Because what he did was he actually did the minus 1 million only on the second step, right? And another thing is same like what was mentioned, statement wasn't given, right? So it is a common error that many students still, even until Sec 4, not you guys, of course. I'm just saying that I have some students who actually are still in that situation where they tend not to write the statement, okay? And that actually will cost them some marks in terms of the presentation, okay? And lastly, of course, this should be very familiar to you. Geometrical reasons not written. Whenever we talk about geometry, like finding angles, like whether is it an alternate angle because of parallel lines having alternate angle, or parallel lines then having a corresponding angle, or even the case of when we are talking about similar triangles, or maybe congruent shapes, similar and congruent shapes, we will actually need to write the geometric reason before we can actually prove that it is actually similar or congruent, right? So these reasons are not written, then you may lose marks because of that, okay? All right, then the next one, yeah. Oh, sorry, let me erase this first, okay? Okay, so this is just an example of, and this was actually one of my students. That was what he presented, right? So like you see here, example for this question, it was actually a question that is just asking to find the area of this ABNM, this sector. And also the, sorry, ABNM is actually this portion here, not the sector, but this section here, this portion, right? And then another question, part B, was actually to find the perimeter. But you notice how did he actually presented the answers here? For part A, part A, at least he did write area is equals to so and so, and then after that the formula, and finally get to the answer. But halfway through, he forgot about writing the next one, which is the area of ABNM, right? And similarly on this side, presentation as well, never write the perimeter. And another thing is that this also, there are some missing lengths. This is also what I meant by the transfer error, right? Because there was supposed to be something else that he needs to add in. The two, the two radius, right? Which he actually didn't add in as well, okay? So that is actually, no, sorry, not radius, it's actually this AM and this BN, right? Okay, which he didn't add in to find the perimeter, okay? So that actually cost him some marks for not writing all these correctly, okay? Yep, okay, next slide. Okay, so next one is that we have another error, which is the accuracy error. So this, I didn't show much examples for this, but it is quite clear cut when you see this, is that these are answers where they are not answered in the appropriate accuracy. So for example, if the question actually asks you for exact value, what do we mean by exact value? It is actually like either could be in fractions, or it could be, for A-Math students, you will know what is certs, right? Then for non-A-Math students, it's okay. You just need to take note of the fractions and pi, in terms of pi, okay? So usually we will have to answer in terms of pi, but some students actually end up answering like 3 significant figures, or worse still, they just write a chunk of decimal places as their answer, right? And then also another one is not answering to 1 decimal place or 3SF, 3 significant figures. When do we actually round off to 1 decimal place? Angles, correct. Okay, angles, then that's when we round off to 1 decimal place, right? And for 3 significant figures, it's usually what kind of situation then you will have to round off to three significant figures? Do you know or not? Yeah. Not really say you decide. There are situations where you shouldn't be rounding off to three significant figures, which I think many students actually didn't realize this. Let's say I have this, let's say I give you this, I give you this answer. Okay, so let's say this is the answer that I have, right? It's actually 0.6125. It is actually four significant figures here. But do I still need to round off to 0.613 or not? Let's say this is the answer, okay? What do you think? Why? Okay, for this kind of questions where the answer comes out to be something like this, although it's actually four decimal places or four significant figures, what happens is that because it is not like a string of numbers, like when you do it when you use your calculator to calculate the value, it ends up as a string of decimal places, right? Those are the ones that you definitely have to round off to three significant figures, right? But this kind of situation, you can actually leave it as such, okay? Or unless the question specifically tell you to round off, then that is when you will round off. Clear? Okay? Can Okay, so you guys are still maybe new to this, but you are learning. So this is something that you may want to take note also. But of course, when we talk about, let's say if I have the question actually takes a value that is from a previous part, do we take the value that is from three significant figures and then we just carry on working with and rounding off again three significant figures? No, right? It's either we last time what we used to do during my generation was that we usually will use the calculator value and we'll have to actually always store the values, right? But nowadays I notice is that you guys will just have to take five significant figures, at least maybe two more significant figures to actually to work on the next step, the next part of the question, right? So that is actually how you should be doing that. Okay, so do remember that, right? Similarly for decimal place, that means it's two more decimal places when it comes to angles. Okay, and then another situation, another issue is also is that rounding off too early. Which is what I was trying to explain about this having the five significant figures and the three decimal places. Because when you round off too early and then you use that value for the subsequent part, you will lose the accuracy. And then end up your answers will go quite far off from what we are expecting you to get. Okay? Yeah, next. Okay, then the next one is, units, which I mentioned at the very beginning about this, never showing your units, which is a quite common error where you start to work on the question, then after that, at the end of it, you just, you got the numbers, values already. Then after that, you just skip, go to the next page. But you forgot about having the units written, right? Or a case where wrong units are given. This could be in a few scenarios. Let's say the question actually asks you for the value to be in kilograms, but you actually gave in grams. That's one example. Or worse still is that it is, let's say the question actually asks you for the time, it's in minutes, but yet you write meters m, right? That even sometimes when I'm rushing to write, I may also end up having this committing this mistake sometimes as well. But when I check back, that's when you also have to make sure always remind yourself to check back what have you written. Have you actually written the correct things or not, right? And then another thing is that another kind of error is question specified unit that is to be shown. For example, let's say your question, you are given the information is all in grams and in cubic centimeters, or maybe in centimeters where you need to find your volume, right? And then after that, when you want to find the final density, the question actually asks you for give your density in kilogram per cubic meters. But however, you end off with just gram per cubic meter. Oh, sorry, gram per cubic centimeter, which means you did not change the units to the correct, the appropriate one that is required by the question. So that is also another situation where you may lose marks for that. Okay, or even in speed as well. Okay, so this is another example, right? Okay, next one. Okay, so this is actually an example of it. Oh, sorry, let me erase this first. Okay, so this is actually an example that I have here. So this question actually asks you, it says that there's a sector of a circle that has a radius of 16 centimeters, and the area, you have to find the area of the shaded region. So how would you actually go about doing this? Maybe you can actually find the blank page on the very last page there. Over here, you can actually try and see if you can work on this. For those of you who are familiar with this question, I mean, if you are given such a very simple question, just to find the area of the shaded region, how would you find this?
Find the total area of the whole sector minus the.
Correct. Yeah. So what's the formula to find the area of sector? For this case, I mean, for this, since you are given the angle as degrees. Times radius times sorry, times pi r square, right? Correct. Yeah. So that is actually to find the area of the sector. But then what about this area of the triangle? Yes, half AB sine C, right? That formula. To actually to find the area, then you subtract off that triangle, you will find the area of the shaded part already, right? However, let's see what was the student's method. Okay, actually, he was right. But you see, all never show units. Until the very last part, okay, show units. But whenever, you see, it's not like in primary school, for some of you, you may have some concepts from the primary school where you actually bring it over. Okay, but of course, not saying that all of you do that. But you will notice that whenever we actually come, like when we actually write this statement, then followed by the working and then the answer, before we go to the next step, which is a new statement, we will usually have to end off writing the units as well. Okay, so this is something about presentation also, right? But we classify this under units because units not shown. Okay, can. So this is actually a very typical kind of error that students make. Okay, so before I go into the next slide, there is actually this okay, this one is actually what you are having here. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually just an example of, for those who are mind structure students, you would have seen something like this before, right? Which is the error analysis worksheet that after the end of our checkpoint, which is an assessment paper. Okay, so usually after our assessment paper, is that we will usually share with the students on this error analysis where we will actually go through with them. Okay, so what do you think are your errors here? Like, is it a misread question error? Okay, so this one we actually go a bit more details. But when I was going through just now that few errors, it's actually more of a for those of you who are committing more, I mean, the more common ones, all right? But here we are actually going into the more specifics, right? So, and then also we have another reason for having this error analysis is actually also to let you reflect on what were your errors and how would you actually done better if you were given the same question again. Because you might not know there might be a similar kind of question that will be asked again during your subsequent year for those who are in Sec 1, Sec 2, and for those who are in Sec 4, because you have just gone through your prelims. Who knows, maybe you will get something very similar for your O-levels as well, right? So that is something that you may want to think about how you will actually improve on that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. This next one is actually the real world context already. Okay, So this real world context is actually could be questions that are based on these few things. Like it could be things that are related to your daily life. For example, maybe you have some travel plans to go a few countries. Maybe it's a traveling marathon, right? So, or it could be something like maybe just a transport schedules, or related to sports and games, or it could be recipes for those who maybe wants to bake cookies or bake cake, right? And then is maybe this person has a small business that she wants to actually bake a certain number of cookies to sell to uh, to his friends or maybe some customers, right? So then she will need to actually know how much of each ingredient that she will need, right? And then also another one is that it could be based on personal or household finance, such as simple and compound interest. It could be on taxation, installments. It could be also on utility bills, or it could be even your phone bills, right? Right. So your telecoms phone bills, your mobile phone, I mean, right? And then also there are another thing is that you got to actually maybe have some information given to you in a certain data set. In a certain data set, for example, like tables and graphs. Then from there, you are supposed to actually interpret and analyze based on the data, and you are to work on your solutions. Okay. So next one. Okay, so the features of this problems in real world context questions is that you will usually be given a brief background, then followed by explanation of the context, and or sometimes they may also give you the definition of certain terms. If let's say it's something that you may not have seen it before, right? So they may actually give you some definition to explain about that. And then also another thing is that these are often structured with relevant parts leading to solutions for the last part, right? So usually it's like maybe part A, then followed by part B, which you need to use the answer from part A to bring to part B, then followed by bringing to part C. And usually the last part is the heaviest, with the heaviest weightage, right? And then another one is that you also need to actually be able to analyze data, interpret tables and graphs as well. Okay, so I have these two worksheets here that for those who are taking maths in MindStretcher for Set 1. Okay, this is actually something, just an example. Okay. Okay. So this is actually how it looks like for your paper. You guys are taking maths with us? Yeah. So probably this set of worksheets you have just you have actually covered this already. It was a few weeks ago, right? So this is actually how we will actually give you some examples and let you practice. Like so, for example, this question is actually on interest rate, and then the student actually has to calculate respective according to the question that's being asked, right? And you will see that okay, this first one is 2 marks, then followed by the second one. It actually takes up more marks because you will still need to actually consider which investment should she be investing. You need to do a comparison, right? Then yeah, scroll down. Thank you. Yeah, so another possibility is that, oh, he's going overseas. Then he will need to do some exchange of the money. And also, whether he should actually, for this question is what? Is that can determine, by using the exchange rate, explain how you can determine which hotel is cheaper. Okay, so is that if he were to actually book the hotel in maybe Chinese renminbi, could it be cheaper as compared to if let's say he were to use Singapore dollar to pay for the hotel? Yeah, because sometimes because of this exchange rate, it may be a case that if he were to pay the local currency, it may be cheaper. But of course, that being said, there might be some, like for some of you, if you are familiar with this, is that there are also those apps that are out there which may give you some discounts. When you pay Singapore dollar, you may still get some discounts. So at the end of the day, you may still be paying much less as compared to paying the over at the local I mean, at the, like, for example, this question is paying it at China, where at the renminbi currency, that could be maybe more expensive, right? Okay, so yeah, maybe can go to the next one, which is the Sec 4. Yeah, so you will see that this Sec 1's, the questions are simpler and the weightage is about maybe 5-6 marks or so only. But for Sec 4, you will notice that there will be more marks that is given for this kind of questions really, right? So first part is actually on okay, right. So this question is actually about recycling and also some waste that can be incinerable and non-incinerable. And then we are to actually to calculate like the density of the waste and so on and so forth, right? And then also next part is that then after that they actually mentioned about having this amount of space that is can be used for landfill. But at the end of 2019, there's already 35% that is being filled up. So this newspaper article claimed that it's going to take another 15 years before the landfill is completely used. So you have to actually, based on the information that was given earlier, you have to actually calculate and see whether the duration taken to fill up the remaining capacity, would it actually be taking up that much time, or is it going to be just sufficient, or it could be it's actually much less time that is going to be depleting the space, right? Okay, so can scroll down. There's okay. So basically, these are some questions where you notice that the weightage is actually much more. Teacher William, maybe you can scroll down to the very last one. This is the one which actually you can see it in your worksheet as well. Okay, so this is the one that I wanted to actually talk a bit more, right? So for example, this example here is can be something similar to this, where it's quite typical, where you are given a whole chunk of a lot of information. Then you are to actually to find out according to what is being asked, right? But this question, there's a catch for this, is that this part A is actually just for part A, then that's it already. So you're lucky that sometimes they may actually set the question in such a way also, where there's 1 mark or 2 marks, which is actually not so related to the subsequent parts. Or it could be a case where part A will be related to part B, related to part C, then that's it. So if you have something that is wrong here, it will actually be transferred over. So that is also what we mean by transfer error as well. So is that if I were to actually transfer the error to the next part, then it will cause the next part to actually have error as well, and then subsequently getting marks deducted because of that, right? Okay, so maybe you can try and see if you can work on this first part, part A, which is not related to this, not exactly related, but see whether you can actually find out what is the amount of money that he can set aside monthly for his car. What do you think? Okay, for this here, I think for the two of you, you will still be able to do this because it's actually just a simple interest. Okay, this question is on simple interest. You all learn about simple interest already, right? So what do you think? What will you get for this question? Right. Please take note of this where what is it asking for? Okay, is that Tim earns an annual income of 80,000. He intends to buy a car which he plans to sell at the end of 5 years of usage. Tim will be able to set aside 25% of his income for the expenses in owning and maintaining the car, and calculate the amount of money that he can set aside monthly for his car? What do you think? How would you actually go about working on this? Okay, I'm just going to show you the working. Although, yes, I know I am supposed to actually write the statement first, then followed by writing the working. But due to space here, I will just show you how the working should be done, right? So it should be just a case of having this 25%, which is actually 225 over 100. We just have to multiply by this 80,000, right? And then monthly will be what? Divide by 12. Yeah, so that means you just have to multiply by 1 over 12, or you just write divide by 12. And what you will get here, of course, is going to be $1,666.67. Okay, so for this case, remember for dollars, it is always round off to 2 decimal place. This is the only exception. Okay, right? Okay, before I continue to the next part, yes, teacher Raymond, the slides. Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, wait, sorry. Anyone still writing? Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's remove this writing first. Okay, so the next page, let's see. Okay, so basically what you have seen was what I've just shown you, a part of it. But over here is kind of like squeezed into one slide, where you'll notice that the subsequent part is very, very lengthy, right? But how do we go about looking at this? So there are some key things that you need to be aware of, which will be on the next slide, which I will actually be explaining to you. All right. So very first thing is that the steps to take to do these kind of questions is that you will have to read the context slowly. Do not ever skim through it. That means if you were to just fast read everything, you're not going to be able to catch the important points properly, right? And then secondly is to identify the objective. What is the question really asking you? For example, like let's say there are times where your first time of reading it, you may not be able to actually understand it. Then you got to read it again to actually to try and identify what exactly are they trying to ask you for. What exactly is it that you are supposed to find, right? And then highlight keywords where necessary. When you actually have such a whole chunk of such a big chunk of information, it will be good that you can actually do some highlighting so that you know which are the itemized things that you will need to use for your calculation, right? And then also to think logically with step-by-step reasoning and make relevant assumptions where appropriate. So sometimes you may actually need to use do some assumptions as well. Like maybe they don't really clearly state certain things to you, but you got to assume that, oh, okay, maybe in order to actually pay for 5 years, I definitely have to sorry, let's say I was to talk about a car loan. Let's say I were to actually loan for 5 years, but I definitely have to actually pay a certain deposit first before I actually take the loan. So some assumptions may have to be made. Okay, I'm just giving a very vague example. So it really depends on the question itself. So this actually varies from question to question as well, right? And then another thing is that to draw connections with data from tables and graphs, from there, then you can actually find, okay, which are the ones that you need to use for the calculation, right? Then next one is that to consider relevant factors influencing your outcome. Like for example, the cost, the distance, time, etc. What are the relevant factors that may influence your outcome? Which is what we will do for this later for question. This question that I was showing you, the one that was on the real world context sample, that part C, you will have to actually consider the relevant factors, else you may actually miss out certain things, right? And then also to think back on relevant topics that that you will need to apply certain formulas. Like for example, we have talked about compound interest, or whether is it simple interest. These are some of the formulas, right? Or it could be a scenario where you may need to even use some geometry kind of formulas, like half AB sine C, like example you were using that just now, right? And also to show step-by-step workings clearly, okay? And lastly, where possible, where necessary also, okay? So not just say where possible, but where necessary, you may need to actually present your answer in a certain layout, maybe in a table form, where it's actually much more presentable and your information are given very clearly for the examiner to mark your paper, okay? Right, so let's go to the next one. So this is actually the next part, where it has all this information and you are to calculate the cost price of each car. Okay, I don't need you to do for all. Can you try and see whether you are able to find out the cost price of car B? How would you actually find the cost price of car B? Try and see if you are able to do it. Okay, first of all is that definitely you have to indicate some of the things that you will need to use, right, in order to find out your answer, right? So for example, this car is actually 1800 cc, right? And what else is actually needed for this? You will also need the OMV, right? When you are actually doing the cost price, right? And then also, this is only calculating the cost price. So resale not really necessary, but we also need the COE, right? When we buy a car, there's a COE that is included as well. Okay. And then subsequently, it says here, the cost price of a car is the sum of additional registration fee and the certificate of entitlement, which is a COE. And the ARF is computed on the tiered scheme based on the open market value, right? And table 2 shows the ARF rate. Okay, so mentioned here, cost price is the sum of the, this is the key thing that you need to be careful. Wait, let me just change my color a bit. So, okay, so cost price is the sum of the additional, which is the ARF, all right? And then also the COE. Okay, let me just erase this a bit. Just underline this. Hey, why? Okay, this ARF and the COE, right? And then also the ARF is actually computed based on the tiered scheme of the open market value, which the open market value is actually given here as such. So for first 20, you will have to have 100% of it. And then next 30,000 is 140. So how would you actually find out what is the cost price for car B? What do you think? Okay, before I go into the working for all the questions here, maybe I'll just show you how we can actually try and work on this one. Oops. Never mind. Okay, so first thing is that, of course, you got to write cost of car B. Okay. Is, first of all, you are told that the ARF is calculated based on this, right? Okay. And the first 20,000 will be 100%. That means this you will need to first add, you will need to first consider the 20,000. Then after that, I will have to add another. The next 30,000 is 140%, right? But for this car B, what is the value here? The OMV is 21,000. So which means I have just this one extra 1,000 that needs to be calculated using this 140. That is what you need to find, because you see here, the ARR is based on the OMF, where the first 20,000 is 100%. Next 30,000 will be 140. So which means there's this extra 1,000. So I can actually just use, sorry, let me rewrite this. This will be 1.4 multiplied by 20. You can do this first, which is 21,000 minus that 20,000, which actually gives you 1,000, right? And then I will have to add another last thing that I need to add. What is it? Correct. Okay, so you will need to add the COE as well. Okay, that's all that you need to do, right? But if you were to calculate this, this will be what? It will be 20,000 plus this will give me 1,400. Okay, so that means it's going to be 20 plus 1,400. Excuse me for the all these extra dots, because yeah, this digital pen is very sensitive. Okay, so then this next one is what? Is the 30,000. So all in all, you will get 51,400. Okay, so this is how you actually need to do for this question, right? But this is actually just part of it, because we are to calculate what? Cost price of each car. Oops, sorry. Yeah, cost price of each car. Right, so that means now we got to find out what is the cost price of A and also C. But A is much easier, okay, and C, let's see whether you can do it for C this time around. Since I've actually guided you on this one already, can you try and find out what is C? And just tell me the answer. Just fill out the answer when you got it. What do you think? Cannot. Shouldn't be too difficult, right? The difficult part is actually the next part. Part C. Part C is actually harder. Sorry? $85,000 for car C. Yes, correct. Okay. Maybe I'll just erase this. Teacher Wayland can show the answer for this next. Click next one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So basically, these are the three answers. For cost price of car A is going to give me 45,200 only, right? Because why? Is that the OMV is below, is actually 13,200, which is actually within the first 20,000. So you just have to actually use the 13,200. No need to add any more other things other than the COE, right? So then that's why where you get 45,200. And for part B, for car B, we have already calculated. And for car C, like what was mentioned, yes, it's 85,000. Why is that so? Because 20,000 for the first 20, so this first 20,000 is 100%. Then followed by, you see here, what is the value here? This is the value, right? Oops, sorry. This was the value, the OMV, right? So this OMV is 45,000. That means first 20 will be 100%. Next, the subsequent amount is 25,000, which is in the next 30,000. So this next 30,000, that means it will be subjected to the 140%, which is the 1.4 times, right? And then also the last part is the 30,000 for the COE, right? And then total 85,000. Okay. All right. Then next is oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next part is that you have this parts, this question, which is actually for, sorry, this table, this table actually is meant for your part C. Okay, so with the previous part in consideration as well, you are to actually find out, okay, Tim would drive an average of 1,000 kilometers per month. The cost of petrol is $1.99 per liter. Explain with justifications which car would be more economical for Tim to purchase. So which means to say you have to actually again calculate for each car A, car B, and car C, right? Which is quite a bit of calculation for this one. So how would you actually consider doing this? That's why we have to read carefully. First of all, this table here shows you the road tax that is payable every 6 months. Okay, be careful of this because if you actually overlook on this, then you will end up calculating wrongly, right? Because it says that the road tax is payable every 6 months. But what are you given here? This table shows you the road tax, but this is actually just for the 6 months, right? But how long is he going to own the car? Remember the earlier part. If you can flip back, you have the question, so you can actually flip back. How long is he intending to own the car? Correct. So he's only intending to own the car for 5 years. Then after that, he's going to sell it off, right? So which means how much road tax will he incur in this case? Five years, so 5 times. 5 times 2, because 6 months. So 1 year is 12 months. So that means it will be 2 times per year that he will have to pay road tax, right? So it will be 10 times in total that he will incur. Sorry, 10 times of this particular road tax that he will need to incur, right? Okay, so let's try and see if I can show you car A, right? It's going to be a bit long, so I may need to use more than one line to write out all the workings. Okay, so this first one, let me just change this to writing first. Okay, so this first one is that for car A, first of all, as mentioned already, we just talk about it, is that 10 times of what was the capacity of the car? You can flip back. It's 1,400 cc, right? So 1,400 cc falls under which segment? This is 600 to 1,000 only. Third one, right? Okay, so third one is you have all these things that you need to consider. Okay, so first of all, we will just use 10 times. Then after that, we can actually write 0.7. Sorry, I should stand this side. Okay, 0.782 multiplied by this whole list of things here, which is the 250 plus 0.375 times, my 5 looks like 6. Sorry about that. Wait, let me change it. Okay, multiply by, what is this EC? Remember what was the EC? It was actually just the capacity, engine capacity, which is 1,400. Okay, then I will have to minus 600. Okay, so this is just the first part. We are not over yet. This is just to calculate the road tax. But what else do we need to add in for this one? Petrol costs. Let's see, what is the next one that I have here? Minus 1,000. Oh, sorry. Yes. Thank you for highlighting this. I overlooked. Yeah, because at this angle, a bit hard to see. Okay, then after that, the next thing was the because you will be using it for 5 years only, right? So I can actually consider adding this next one, which is the 5 times 12 times this. This is actually the petrol, right? Which is 1,000 over 12 multiplied by 1.99. Okay, so this is actually for the next part, which is actually for the petrol, the cost of petrol. Okay, but that's not the end. We still have some more things to consider. What other things do you need to consider? Because it says what? It says which car would be most economical to purchase, which means we are looking for the cost that he's going to be incurring, right? He's going to actually be spending. Okay. The next thing we can actually consider is actually the price of the car itself. The price of the car just now, what was it? We actually had the answer was, okay, maybe you may have missed this out when I was showing that. It's 45,200. That was the cost of the car A, right? But however, is this the, no, sorry, I shouldn't be saying however. Is this all that you need to use to calculate the cost that is incurred? Or is there something else that you shouldn't be considering? I'm giving you a clue. Is there something else that you shouldn't be considering? Clue is how many years is he owning the car? 5. But remember, you look back into table 1. He will sell the car away, right? So he will actually get back some money after selling the car away. Yes, that is the thing. So which means we shouldn't be ending here because we are, because Tim is going to be selling the car away. So which means he will actually still be taking back some money. So this will be the amount that is taken back, which is minus this away. Because what we are looking for here is the cost where he is going to pay. So this last part is supposed to be minus remember the 50% of COE, which is 0, or you can write it as 0.5 multiplied by the COE just now was 32,000. Right? And then also, lastly, is to subtract off the 75% of the ARF. Sorry? Which one? This one. 1,000 over, because it was mentioned that 1,000 kilometers per month, right? Remember in your part C, this part about the average kilometer, the average distance that he's going to be traveling per month. Okay.
Table 1, the fuel consumption.
Yeah.
It says A use 12 kilometer per liter. So that's why we had to use the 1,000 divided by 12 to get a figure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's the part. Right. Okay. Then after that, the last one, as I was saying here, is that you will have to multiply by the ARF, which is 13,200. Okay. So you see, the step actually take up quite a substantial list of things to calculate, right? And for this, what you will actually end up with is going to be 32,378. And that is only for car A. You still have car B and car C to work on. Then you can actually do a comparison. Okay? Yes. Okay, so sometimes you may encounter it, you just pray hard that you don't get this kind of question for your O-levels, because if there might be a situation where the question may come out to be such a heavy weightage. So you really can't tell. So that's why we are trying to prepare you for this as well. Yeah. Okay. So can you try and see if you can work on car B? See if you, oops. See if you can actually get the answer for car B then. Is it too tough for you guys? Cannot. But yeah, so at least even though it's going to be something much more, but you can get yourself prepared for this, or mentally prepared for this as well. Okay, for those of you if you are still at Sec 1, Sec 2, or Sec 3, yeah, you can actually get yourself prepared for this as well. Okay, so it's not like oh, I can't do it now, then you just give up, right? Okay, so my suggestion to you is that you can try and follow a somewhat similar to this, but the values will be different for car B, right? So we got to consider which one, because car B is 1,800. So which means we need to consider the fourth row when doing the first calculation of the tax, road tax. Okay, and on top of that is the the cost of the car, and also the ARF, right? Sorry, the COE and the ARF that is going to be deducted back. That is actually going to be taken back after he sells the car. Thirty thousand. How many? Sorry, again. 30,000. Oh, okay. Very close. I think maybe there's something that you may have calculated slightly wrong. But it was close. It was close. Okay, it was quite close already. Let me just have a quick check also on my on my side to calculate this. See if it's calculated correctly. Eh? Yeah, key wrongly.
Oh, yeah. Yours is 21,000, right? Actually, it should be 21,000 for card. Actually, check for the card here. As we card here is the what is the ARF it's not really right here. Oh, this one should be 21,400. 21,400 plus the 50,000. Fine. This one. Right, after that was the rest were all correct. Yeah, what's the correct answer? The correct answer is $30,013.50.
Mm.
$1,015.50. Right. So that's a small number. The rest are all correct.
Okay, I'm almost done. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Just trying to verify also on my end. Yes, it's actually the car B is going to be $30,013.50. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll just have this erase off first. Then I will show you the types out working. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we'll just wait for a short while. Okay, you can take a look at the solution here for the time being first. Then I will have a quick explanation in a short while. Yes. Okay, just now when I was actually explaining it, I actually also forgot and missed out something, which just now you were asking about this 1,000 divided by 12, right? And then multiply by the 1.99. The 12, where do I get this, right? Because 1,000 is the kilometers, the distance, which is the average distance for each month that he's traveling. And then for the $1.99 is actually for the fuel, the petrol cost per liter, right? But this 12 is actually what you should be obtaining from your table 1. Because table 1, you can see that car A, the fuel consumption is 12.0 kilometers per liter. Whereas for car B, then you will have to use the other one, which is 25 over here, right? Okay, maybe I'll just rewind a bit. I will go to the very starting of this car B. Right, so car B, how you actually work on this is that first 10 times 0.782, then multiply by this. This is actually for the road tax. For this whole list of numbers here that you see all the way until to this square bracket. This portion here is actually to calculate the road tax. So for the road tax of this car B, we will have to actually consider the last row here, which is actually based on this 0.782 multiplied by 475 plus 0.75 times the engine capacity was 1,800 for this time round, right? Because car B's engine capacity is 1,800. And then I subtract 1,006 multiplied by this 0.75, right? And then subsequently, the next one is to find out the fuel consumption, right? Which is to find out the cost of the petrol, sorry, right? And then next thing is to find out this 51,400 was actually, what was that? It's actually the cost price of the car, right? And the last two things is to subtract away 0.5%, 0.5 of the COE and also 0.75 of the ARF, because the team is actually selling off, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I actually forgot. Yeah. So when you actually, for this part here is actually, when we look at this part, the 0.5 times 30,000 minus this and minus this off is actually what you will be getting when Tim sells the car, right? So this will be taken back. And then this means that the cost price will only be 30,000. The cost, the overall cost that he's going to be incurring will be 30,000 and $13.50, right? And as for the next one is car C. So car C is that we have, first is same thing, we will have 10 times. But what is this here? This road tax, we will have to consider which one. We will have to, because this is 2,000, the engine capacity is 2,000. Similarly, we are using the last column here. Sorry, last row here. Last row, that is actually 475 plus 0.75 times 2,000 minus 1,600. So this is actually to find out the road tax only. Right? Then subsequently, this portion here is actually to find out the cost of the petrol cost. Right? And the third number that you see here, this 85,000, maybe I change another color for this one. 85,000, this one is actually the cost of the car. Cost of car B, car C, sorry, car C. And then lastly is to subtract this, because this part is actually based on your previous section, table 1. It says that resale value. This is after 5 years. When you resell it back, you are going to get this back, get this amount of money back. Oops, 5 years. Okay, so then subsequently your answer will be $43,995.12, right? So from here you can see that the three costs are given to you already, and you can compare with this. You can see that car B is actually the more economical to purchase, right? Which is based on the usage and selling after 5 years, right? Okay. Okay, so that's all for this question. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Oh, sorry. Let me try and get this clear. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is actually just something additional. Of course, Teacher Wei Lun, I think you have a workshop that is more into the covering on the exam techniques that will be Sorry, when was that? I forgot. It's tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Yeah. So it's actually going to be a more in-depth one. So, but here I'm just going to share with you some good practices also during exam itself, right? So during exam itself is that you ought to, this is not just for problems in real world context, but in general, where any questions that you in mathematics in particular is that you ought to actually read the question carefully, and when necessary, please read it again. Okay, this is actually to ensure that you can you completely understood what the question was asking, and also to prevent any misinterpretation. Okay, and then next is to skip and return when you find that the question is too difficult, or you actually forgot, maybe certain concepts you actually forgot. Okay, and you wouldn't want to actually spend too much time with thinking through it, and then you're wasting precious time. So just move on to the next question first, and then try and finish off the easier ones. Then you come back. Who knows, maybe when you come back to this question again, you actually remembered what you need to actually do to solve this question, right? And then another one is that to check your work systematically, make sure that you verify the units, and also the reasonableness of this answer that you have given, whether is it reasonable or not. Let's say whether is it logical or not. Okay, and then also key steps after each question to catch any careless errors, which we have covered all the different errors. So this is actually to ensure that you do not commit any errors. Okay, yeah, next. Okay, and next thing is to manage your time. Allocate approximately about 1.5 minutes per mark, and know when to move on from a difficult question to avoid wasting time, right? So this is actually related to the previous one where I've mentioned about it. Okay, so do not take too much time for, based on the marks that you are given, please do not take too much time for each mark that is allocated. Okay, and then next is leave time for checking. So that means at the end of it, please try to have some time, spare time, so that you can actually do some checking of your calculations and of your answers that have been written. Okay, because sometimes you may spot some errors along the way when you are doing your checking. Okay, then lastly is that breathe and stay calm. Okay, some students may tend to panic when it comes to exam, right? I mean, previously when I was teaching in school, I did have a student who has this issue. So whenever he goes into, before he steps into the exam hall, he will actually have to take some breather, mindfulness kind of exercise to actually to make him calm down before he actually goes in. But of course, I'm not saying that everyone has to do that, but at the least take deep breath and then slowly breathe it out, and then to relax yourself before you go on to maybe the next question or go into the exam hall. Okay, yep. Then next one, so the most importantly is make sure you revise and recap and also review your exams. Okay, yep. Okay, then that's all that I have. Do you have any questions?
Just curious, so when
Yes.
you do these questions, what problems do you face? What is your name? Shanky, I see you copying. Do you understand what you're copying? Yes. No, we just want to understand. And then when you tackle when you do your O levels, okay, is this a subject which you find difficult?
Yes. No, don't worry. Oh, it's fine, is it? The speaker.
Do I need to find? Oh, okay. Just curious. I just want to understand. Okay, I just want to understand because we still have some time. Don't worry. When is the additional maths exam? In
Some are set one, some are
oh, some are sec one. Okay, those who are sec one, I think is great. I think it's always good to learn in advance. But sec one, you may not know the topics, right? Okay, so who is having their O levels here? Also, your O levels. Okay, so when it comes to additional maths, what are the problems which you mainly face? Okay, I just want to get an idea. What score do you hope to achieve?
So don't worry, this is not a contest. This is just for us to have an idea. What score do you hope to achieve? At least B3. Thank you very much. What about you? Same, same. No pressure, no pressure. This is not a popularity contest. So B3, B3, same. Nobody wants to score higher. It's okay. You want that? That is great. So right now, when you do additional mathematics, okay, are there any chapters which you do not know? Or do you choose strategically what to focus on? Calculus? Okay. Okay, calculus is a big topic, right? It's a big topic at Sec 3 and Sec 4. So calculus is definitely a big topic. Do you know all your calculus questions? Okay. Do you understand what teacher has taught you just now? Yes? Yes, okay, good. Any questions? Okay, because this is this is a free sharing session. Are there any things which you want to ask teacher? So don't be afraid because this is a sharing session. You can ask anything. Why do you need to ask so that we understand your concerns? Very, very important. We understand your concerns. Are there any particular areas which you are not too aware of? Same thing like the students online. When it comes to additional mathematics, through right now we are going through selectively, but you let us know what are the things which you have issues with, so at least we have a rough understanding, because we must understand that all students are different. Very important, okay? Do you have any particular areas which you're not too concerned about, which you're a little bit more concerned about? Sorry? Geometry, yeah? Okay, geometry. Okay, geometry. No, we just want to have ideas so that we understand. So when it comes to geometry, what aspects are you concerned about? Or what aspects do you think you're not so proficient? You cannot identify the angles? Okay, you cannot identify the angles. You see, the reason why we need to understand is that so that going forward, we know what we need to include, okay? Because all students are different. So thank you for sharing with us. So you say that you cannot identify angles, that means you cannot visualize, is it? You cannot visualize? Okay, fair enough. Do you always have this problem? Yeah, okay, fine. So right now, let's say you're tackling the O levels. Do you focus on that particular subject? Or no? You're just you just see how, okay, so it's important that we get a sense of everybody. What about you? Is there any particular domain which you're particularly worried about? Don't know. Everything is chill, okay, which is good. Oh, second one, okay. Every second one is chill. No, no, no problem. So if I tell you about calculus, you're so blur. No problem. You? Mensuration, and then okay, when it comes, okay, it's important because you see all these things is the question of visualization. So calculus, you don't have any problems. Or are you Sec 4? Okay, okay, calculus. So it is mensuration. Are those topics big chapters, geometry and mensuration? They are quite substantial, right? Yeah, it's quite significant. What about you?
I not enough time to check everything. Then in the end, a lot of
Okay, so I think the thing about checking, I think we must always go on this basis. The first time we do it, we try to get it right, really. Okay, and this is what we emphasize, because you see, the reality is that depending on how fast or how effective you are, most of the time we may not have time to check. I think this is very important. So straight away when you do any piece of activity, we must go on the assumption that we don't have time to check. This is what I always tell students. We don't have time to check. So which means that whatever you do right now, you got to circle and whatever, and you try to get it right the first time. Okay, I think this is a matter of an exam technique, but I think it's in everything you do, whether you are, let's say you are Sec 4 now, but maybe next year you go to JC, you go to Poly, same. We try to get it right the first time. And this is a matter of you need to be meticulous. Okay, I tell you, so you need to circle, you need to underline, you need to try. We cannot go on that basis. Okay, this is something which you all need to learn. I think this is fair enough because it's a problem which many students face. Right? What about you? So if you don't have the time, if you don't have the time management issue, Everything is okay. Circle properties. Okay, you see the reason why I say all these things is that all these things are they need to drill one, this is the circle properties. What problems do you have with the circle and properties?
See the rules.
Okay.
The same as what I see in the textbook.
Okay. So just another question. How do you practice the mathematics? How do you practice the mathematics? You do TYS, then see answer. Okay. So let's say there's a question which you do not know. What happens? Do you come back to the question again? Let's say you do your TYS. Let's say you get, let's say I'm just giving example. Let's say you want a B3. Let's say you get 65. And there are 35 marks which you got it wrong. Do you revisit those questions again? Huh? Once only, huh? Once only, huh? Okay, what about you all?
Depends.
Depends, huh? You feel like it, huh? I feel like it chill. I feel like doing my foot relax. I don't. Okay, but this is a general piece of advice. I think whatever we do, very important. Exam techniques, whether you go to polytechnic, whether you go to JC, just a general advanced technique. Whatever things you do. So we take a look at maths, for instance. Maths is just a case of, it's easy for me to say, of course, but because you're all students right now, it's a little bit, but I just want to share with you exam basic techniques. Maths, fundamentally, we need to have enough practice. And if you practice enough, the same type of questions will come out. It's just the different numbers. You may change it a little bit, but generally. So what do we do about this? What do we do is that, and very important, I think practicing 10-year series is absolutely important thing. But what we must do besides 10-year series is this. Any question which you got wrong, you must come back to it. I mean, this is how I used to study. Every question which I got wrong, I would come back to it. I would make sure I circle it and I do it again. I do it once. If I get it wrong, I'll do it again. So if I can do it again and I get it right, that means I understand the concept. I think it's very important because you need to see how many, you need to, reading the answer is different from doing it yourself. So this is something which everybody, is simple exam technique, which everybody must also understand wherever the level you go to. Okay, so whatever you do to, don't just be like that. Because if you just leave it like that, what is the danger? The danger is always this. The same question come out and you don't know how to do. I've done it very many times. I used to teach students. So they tell me, oh, Mr. Kwek, I copied down the answer. I said, do you understand? No problem. Next week, I cover it. Now you do for me again. 90% of the time, they cannot. You see, copying the answer, understanding, cool. Most of us can do that. But doing it is a different thing. And especially subjects like mathematics, there are no two ways about it. You have to get your hands dirty. I'm just showing you, okay? I'm just showing you. So whatever things, so you do a 10-year series, right? So you do by chapter or by paper? By year, okay? By year. So when you do it by year, what are your scores right now? Remember, this is not a contest. So we need to be honest with ourselves. It's not a contest. So even if you think that you don't do so well for mark, don't worry, because you still have some time. And whatever you say, O levels, it is a bell curve. Okay, all you have to do is just do a little bit better to be on the higher side of the bell curve. Do you understand? It's different from your school. Your school will have a certain mark. Let's say you get 70, you get A2, 75, you get A1, right? So anything means 65 and 69, you get B3, right? In a school, it's fixed. But in a national exam, it's always on a bell curve. Do you understand? So all you have to do is to just do a little bit better than your peers. And you want to do that, exam techniques are important, which is why I said that whatever questions you do, especially for mathematics, you cannot leave it there. We try to be strategic. Okay, so if you think that this is subject which appears very often and the percentage is quite high, then we need to get at least some of it right. Okay, it's easy for me to say, so I totally understand. So the exam is in 2 months, is it? 1 month plus. So the reality is also also the reality is that you all got many different subjects, right? So we also need to prioritize. So when you talk about your mathematics, among all your subjects, just the general sense, what subject do you find the most difficult? English. Okay. What about you? AMATS. What about you? Oh, sorry, sec one. You? Geography and EMATS, You? Physics, So you see, everybody has the different drills. What we need going forward is all the exam packs and drills. Okay, so thank you for sharing. But in any case, this is what we can do. But anytime and all questions, please approach us. Very important, okay? And very important, don't be too stressed. Just this is a journey. Okay, I will tell you this is a journey. Right now, O levels, but it doesn't mean that this is the end of the journey. What is most important is going further. It is always a question of it's just always the question of it is always a question of doing that little bit of things. Can cool? Can, thanks. Sorry, I was just trying to understand. The reason why I study because I see some of them copying but I do not know whether they understand. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So actually, guys, just to wrap up, right? So thanks, Alvin and teacher Kwee Lim for going through today. Actually, for those of you, right, especially for all the students here, actually, if you look at this particular link, you will see here, actually, we do have quite a lot of resources. If you all scan into this particular page, right, you will see that actually we have like Telegram communities for all our students, and it's open to everybody. So regardless of whether you're MindStretcher students or non-MindStretcher, right? Just now you all were saying you all need more practice, you all need more of these kind of sessions and webinars, do join our Telegram communities also. So you will see actually we have Telegram communities across English, Chinese, mathematics, science. So you all need help in AMATS, maths, physics. If you join the Telegram groups. Actually, how many of you use Telegram here? Just as a show of hand. Do you all use Telegram? Telegram. You don't use Telegram. How about y'all? Do you use Telegram? Oh, just now y'all mentioned, right? Not really. Yeah, so Telegram groups is a good way for us to share the resources and everything. So do check that out also. Finally, also last thing to share, right? So I will just put it here. Also for those of you who are MindStretcher students, actually, what we do have here is that we do recognize lah, right? Particularly for the students who are at the year 4, right? So Sec 4 or year 4 of IP, right? So it's a crucial year, right? And we also want to motivate everybody, right? To recognize all the hard work that everybody has put in. So every year, actually, we have this thing called the MindStretcher, Academic Achievement Awards. And after your results are released at the start of the year, actually you can also nominate and submit your results to us for the MindStretcher students. And depending on the results and all, so just to let you all see, essentially what we do is that we do recognize the achievements of all our students, right? And then there will be these prizes that are given, and it's beyond just academics also, because we also recognize that for all our students, right? It's beyond just performance in academics. It's also about the character. It's also about making a lot of improvement. So for some of our students, we also recognize that maybe they started from like F9, right? And it's okay that they don't make it to A1 in the end, but if they have made huge improvements, like even getting to a C5 or a B4, right? That's also something to be proud of, and that's where we also celebrate all their achievements, be it in terms of their progress, be it in terms of their character also, right? So things like, in terms of the character special achievement awards. So do keep a lookout for, this, when your result submission process happens around January 2026 for the MindStretcher students here. And then you all can submit your exam results. And then we'll be going through that, and then we will invite, the students for the achievement award ceremony too. Yeah, so do keep a lookout for that too. Okay. And also remember so for everybody here also, I would say that some of you are just starting, right? So maybe still a bit honeymoon from P6, right? While some of you are at the last lap. But you also realize that actually this is still one step along a broader journey. So after that, actually after Sec 4, you'll be still going to JC, Poly, and so on. So still quite a long journey. And then after that, going on to uni and beyond, right? So treat it as just one point. Don't be too stressed, right? So just try your best, right? And just take it as a learning experience, right? Just take the process as it comes also, okay? And anytime you have any questions, feel free to just, especially if you join the Telegram groups, you can continue to talk to all of us teachers, and we'll be happy to help from there also. Yeah, okay? Ken, and any other things from anybody? Any other questions that anybody wants to ask? or online as well? Okay, so if not, right, then that's all for tonight, right? So thank you everybody for joining in. We still have a couple more seminars happening this week for secondary. So tomorrow night we will have this study tips exam techniques kind of a seminar happening at 7:30 as well. Then on Wednesday and on Friday as well. Wednesday night we have for Chinese. Friday, if you are keen, there's a science related practical series. Yeah, actually there's a practical series for Friday night. Yeah, so y'all can check out the list of schedule too. Okay, yeah, can. Especially a few of you, because you are not my special students, right? But how do you manage to find out about this? Oh, I see. I see, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's a good way to keep in touch. Yeah. Because what we are doing now is we believe that there's a lot of resources that we want to open to everybody as well, right? So be it mind stretcher, be it non-mind stretcher, right? So do continue to keep a lookout for that. And yeah, just benefit from all these resources too. Okay, Ken? Yeah. So if nothing else, thanks very much for coming. I know it's quite late at night too. So have a good rest. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you all sometime again. Yeah. Thanks. And thanks to those online as well. Thank you. Thanks.